Hello, everybody. This is Mark Smith with Family Tree Life Coaching. I tell you what, sometimes with the creative process, it just sort of jumps up and grabs hold of you for an extended period of time. And that's sort of what has been going on with me of late. I'm focusing in on adult children of alcoholics. And I'm going to get my jellyfish out here. And I've just been extra super spoken to and inspired, so I'm just going with it. I've been making more videos in the past week than I normally make in 2 months, but it's good stuff. Here's the title. We, adult children of alcoholics or adult children of dysfunctional families, we can go from having an old junker type of a life to having the life of a sweet new ride. Let me tell you some stories here. I shared this on one of the recent videos, but there was a new wrinkle in it. One of my ways of not taking care of myself historically was to not spend money on vehicles. So I bought a vehicle in October of when was it? October of 2001. A Honda Santa Fe, a gray one, or a gold one, and it was beautiful, and I loved that car so much. But 148,000 miles and 3 teenagers later, and 19 years later, it was rusty. I had poured a lot of money into it, and the engine light was on. So I told the story about how I went in and negotiated a good deal. I got a good interest rate, and the car, it's the difference between a horse-drawn wagon and a spaceship. When I'm in this car, it feels like a spaceship. The thumbnail of this video is my car, a 2017 brownish, speckly, gold-looking Hyundai Tucson. It's called a Tucson. Same thing as Santa Fe, about 20% smaller, which is good because I can park it easier that way. But here's the deal. For years, my little kid has done the car shopping. 5 times I've gone into dealerships where I found the vehicle I wanted, so happened to be on the showroom floor, and I'd be drooling out of both sides of my mouth and lusting after the vehicle. And salesmen aren't stupid. They're manipulative. That's all they do is negotiate deals all day long. And we negotiate deals. I was doing it once every 19 years. I had bought other cars in between there, but this one I just held on to because I loved it. So I was determined to have my adult self negotiate the deal. And I went in, and there was 2 cars that were basically the same car, same year. One was all souped up with like a sunroof and navigation system and this and that and the other that I didn't need. And one was the same car for like $8,000 or $9,000 less. And I was always going to buy the more basic model because to me it's a spaceship. So I said, he goes, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, give me $1,000 off of that basic model. He goes, okay. And then when it came down to nut crunching, when it was time to make the deal, I hadn't gone shopping for Tucson's. I didn't know what this was, this particular model. Used to be back 19 years ago when I bought a car, it was like 3 different models. The deluxe, the middle one, and the cheapo one. That was it. And with this one, there was like 12. And so I didn't know if I was getting a good deal, so I went out and looked it over. And there were just a couple little bitty tiny scratches on it. And the truth is, that didn't bother me at all. The Honda Santa Fe I was driving had like 25 dents and rust spots and paint, white paint on it, and the left body panel on the door was about ready to fall off. I still thought it was a good looking car. I'd walk by and say, damn, that's a good looking car. But I came in, I said, give me another $500 off that car. And he goes, okay. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what I paid for it. It started at $16,000. I said I want $1,000 off. And then I said I want $500 more off. To me, that's $14,500. So they made me wait and wait and wait and wait. I'd been there 5 hours. My blood sugar level was low. I'm not a real detail person when it comes to paperwork. So after 5 hours, I was about ready to faint. I'm on a low-carb diet. I can't eat any of the crap that was in their vending machine. I was ready to pass out. And he brought the papers out, and I just signed them. I didn't read the fine print. They charged me $15,500 for the vehicle. And I negotiated $14,500. And I got home, and I was still feeling so happy about the car. And $15,500 was actually still a pretty good deal. But so the beaten mark, the old junker mark, the codependent mark, I was just going to let it go. I was just going to go, it's too much hassle. I signed the paperwork. They're not going to change their mind. They're not going to believe me. But the adult Mark, who has a healthy sense of entitlement and who has fire in their belly, said, no, sir. I'm going to go down to that dealership, and if I have to talk to the salesman, I'll talk with his boss. I'll talk with his boss. I'll talk to the owner. And they'll wish they would have cooperated with me by the time it was all over with. I told them that I'm a very good writer. And if you want me writing reviews for Google and Facebook and Twitter, I can pretty well guarantee you're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars. Because I'll fuck you up. I'm talented, all right? And so I told him I would file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. I wouldn't bring my vehicle to servicing for the next 10 years. And 10 years from now, when I buy a car, I won't come to them. But if they treated me right, I do my service with them, and I buy the car with them. So I talked with the customer service manager, who I guess fields complaints, and I wasn't taking no for an answer, and I got my $1,000 back. And I got a call today saying that I got my $1,000, and it's not about the $1,000. It's about having your finances dominated by a little kid who has a spending addiction, who gets taken advantage of and makes unwise decisions. The last 5 encounters I had in a car dealership, I got my ass handed to me. And I was determined not to have that happen. And I thought I negotiated a great deal, and I got a great car and a great interest rate, and I found out they stuck me with another $1,000. And the lady was aghast. She said, "Oh, our salesman would never lie." I said, "Are you kidding me? A car salesman wouldn't tell a lie? That's like, I said, is there a sleazier profession on the planet? I don't. Maybe a used car salesman. But of course he would lie. But my adult self was powerful. I'll bet you that 9 people out of 10 wouldn't have got their $1,000 back, because the system was set up. I had signed a contract for $15,500, and I had no evidence that this had occurred. But I was very compelling. And this is what you can do with your life, people. You know, if you have an old junker of a life because of your issues, because of your adult child of alcoholic issues, and you don't feel like you deserve better than a 2001 Honda Santa Fe with 47 dents and the engine light on, you know what? You're going to have a shitty life. But if you start to feel like you deserve to be treated special, you'd be flying around in a spaceship. And if your adult self deals with people, you ain't going to get pushed around no more. You're not going to be taken advantage of anymore. People will rue the day that they fucked with you. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is, if you love yourself and you have a healthy sense of entitlement, you can, this is a metaphor, people. I know I got caught up in my car story. Don't send me a text, a message saying, he didn't really start talking about it until 12 minutes and 14 seconds. Fuck that. All right? I've been talking about the story the whole time. If you settle for not much, you're going to live with not much. If you settle for getting pushed around by narcissistic bullies, then you're going to get your ass handed to you every fucking day of your life. But if you heal enough to where you feel entitled enough in a healthy way, if you love yourself enough, you're going to be a force on the earth. You're going to get stuff done. You're going to get bills paid. You're going to fulfill your dreams. You're going to be treated well. You're going to get respect. When I'm driving that car, I'm driving Miss Daisy, brother. I'm happy. And I'm not a materialistic person. It's just a nice gift that I gave myself because I love myself. I could afford it before. But my ACOA issues kept me from loving me. So here's another example. This is one that's a little bit more practical. I need some diet root beer to wet my whistle here. Just give me a second. I'll be burping in a little bit. My wife hates that. I was once in a relationship where I wasn't heard. I wasn't respected. And I wasn't valued. I wasn't prioritized. She would triangulate to untold multitudes of people. She would go to the neighbors, her sister, her daughter, my sister, her cadre of therapists, people in my office, my assistant. The list is unbelievably long. And ventilate, instead of working out issues with me, she would ventilate and triangle to third parties. She would not show me loyalty. I allowed her to violate my boundaries. She constantly was projecting her issues upon me. I frequently was treated in a way that she was shaming me. I allowed myself to be financially manipulated. I was rarely pursued. I had my mentally ill daughter really treated extremely poorly. I was belittled for working hard. I was belittled for talking about work. Because I really love this work. I'm passionate about this work. When the end of the day comes, I've been doing it all day. I want to talk about all the really cool stuff and all the miracles that happened all day, but I got ridiculed for that. I allowed myself to not even have any space in the home. She sort of took the home over, and I didn't have a square inch to my name. She didn't do this to me. I did this to me. I was consistently told lies, and I virtually never, ever, ever heard the words, "I'm sorry." So that's the kind of relationship that I was in. Pretty much the one that I grew up with my family. I had a little altercation with my sister, and she's the healthiest, nicest sibling I got. And she's sort of the family moral compass, and frequently, if she notices something in an email, she'll send you a personal email chastising you, educating you, motivating you, reminding you, and otherwise demeaning you. And she means well, but it's pretty fucking obnoxious. So I gently said, "Anybody ever tell you you're a little bossy?" This was in a text. And the same dynamic that I grew up with in my family occurred. I wasn't heard. I know the other three won't hear me, but this one, she could hear me, just not when I was critiquing her. And I just never critiqued her before. So I went to critiquing her just a little bit. I did it really nicely, and I happened to be right on what I was critiquing her, but she turned into my siblings. She turned into my mother. So let's review what I had in this relationship. Can you relate? Can you relate to this relationship I'm going to describe? You don't feel heard because you're not heard. You're not respected. You're not valued. You're not prioritized. You get vented about to an untold number of people. You're not shown loyalty. You allow your boundaries to be violated. You allow yourself to be projected on. You get shamed. You allow yourself to be financially manipulated. You rarely get pursued. Your children are treated poorly. You don't get praised for work, but get belittled for working hard. You allowed yourself to have very little power in the space that you're living in, and you get lied to. That's the one that really bothers me the most, I think, from my history of my mother and my former fiance. And you know, the words, "I'm sorry," are just magically healing. But a lot of people, they can't say it. Fonzie from Happy Days, when he would make a mistake, he'd go, "I'm sorry." He couldn't say it. He was too cool to say he was sorry, because that would be admitting he was wrong, and he was too cool to be wrong. So being in a relationship like that is surreal, because my needy little child was addicted to this person. And what has happened is, doing my work of growing my inner child up, I'm no longer addicted to my bad mommy. My mommy who treats me these ways. Now, you can make a list of how you've been treated by past significant others and by your current significant other. And guess whose responsibility it is? I don't like the word fault. Guess who fucked you? Did they? You fucked you. Who can fix it? Them straightening up and flying right? There are no rules saying they have to straighten up and fly right. You know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to be who they are. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Probably not going to conform with your thinking of what they should do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fully responsible for my life. Did anybody make me drive around in that shitty car for 19 years? No. My daughter, I had given it to her out in Denver because I thought, man, it's a good car. It's a good looking car. And it'll run forever. And she drove it for about 4 months and she had various repairs. And she said she went out and bought herself a brand new Subaru Outback. And she's got payments, but she knew enough to know that she wasn't going to drive around in a shitty car. Excuse me. So if you're driving around in a shitty life, whose responsibility is it? Is it your husband's? No. Is it your parents'? Not really. They're the one who built the foundation. They're the ones who wounded you. But ever since you've been an adult, who's been building your life? Your parents or you? You. So, I'm gonna resign from this relationship, and I feel pretty awesome about it. I feel pretty thrilled about it, actually. I'm going to read a couple of quotes. This is by Sherry Argov. Truly powerful people, they don't need to spend a lot of time and energy explaining their need for respect. They simply do not engage with people who do not give them respect. Another quote is by a guy named Mark Smith. I think I made it up. I could be stealing it from somebody. One of my videos, it says, your power is in your feet. I think I did steal that. You know, if somebody's treating you bad, you know, there's this old song, there's 50 ways to leave your lover. You could slip out the back, Jack, drop off the key, Lee. I forget the other ones. That's a great song. I think it was Jim Croce or somebody like that. I think it was Jim Croce. 50 ways to leave your lover. I'm gonna slip out the back, Jack. Because I don't deserve a broken down 19-year-old car with a bunch of dents with the engine light on. I've grown to love myself so much that I want to drive around in a spaceship. I upgraded my car. I was heard in the negotiating process, and after getting my ass handed to me 6 straight times in the dealership sales floor, I kicked their asses, and it feels mighty delicious, I gotta tell you. Not out of revenge, but just out of standing up for what's fair. So I'm gonna upgrade when it comes to love, and what I've done is I've gone and fell in love with myself. not in a narcissistic way. If you love yourself, you'll treat yourself well. And that doesn't mean everybody go out and buy a new car. If you have a 19-year-old car that's falling apart, you might want to. But there's so many ways you could love yourself. Today I took my car and I went to the car wash. First time I ran it through the car wash, and I came out and it was so slick and pretty. Then I went and had breakfast at my favorite breakfast place. And I had a wonderful day. It was a beautiful day, and Taylor, my daughter, and I went and did a float. And then I went and sat in the backyard, got a little sunshine. It was a beautiful day. But one of the teacher's mentors in the book, A Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss, the message was, again, along the lines of loving yourself and treating yourself and taking good care of yourself and deserving to be treated well. We learn as adult children of alcoholics to treat ourselves like shit. We go out and marry people who treat us like shit. Recovery is about learning how to genuinely love yourself like you ain't never been loved by your parents and like you ain't never been loved by a partner, except maybe in the beginning when you were enmeshed. But this don't last that long. And then you're cut off and you find out, damn, I married my parents all over again. I want to again mention Steve Cooper, the therapist I work with, who works at Family Tree. And this re-energizing of my life, this operating out of my adult self, this tenacity that will not be bullied by people like my parents and my family, who will not settle for shitty love, who has the courage to walk away from, a broken, unworthy relationship. And I got to tell you, folks, it's fun to drive around in a spaceship. It's fun to jump out of bed in the morning and be happy. It's fun to buy yourself fake jellyfish that you can look at. I got one over there too. Love yourself well. Don't have a shitty, broken down, dented, the light is on the dashboard saying check engine. There's rust all over it. People look at you like you're some kind of street person. You deserve more than that. You deserve better than that. You may not be able to change it overnight. You may have to reinvent yourself slowly over time. But what's going on with me? I'm upgrading every single area of my life. I'm losing weight. I like the guy I see in the mirror in the morning. I have a whistle in my tune and a skip in my step. And when I'm in my PTSD stuff, I'm afraid on the basketball court. And I told you the other day, there's a bunch of young fellas there, and they wouldn't play with an old guy. And I said, why wouldn't you want to play with the guy who's the best shooter in the whole gym? You little punks. y'all are terrible. Y'all are terrible. I told him that. Bunch of real athletic guys who could beat me up. But when you're energized with power, when you're energized with self-love, when you're driving around in a spaceship, when you're not afraid of anything, you have a little swagger to you. And I was trying to get them fellas to get me to play. I'm like, y'all terrible. Let me shoot it. I'll knock it down. So love yourself, fellas. Love yourself, ladies. If you're going to look for love in a man, if you're a woman, you're going to look for love in a man, you're going to find an asshole. You're going to find a narcissist. You're going to find an alcoholic. If you're a man and you're going to try and find your healthiness and your happiness is the word I was looking for in a woman, you're going to find a borderline. You're going to find the worst qualities of either your father and your mother. You're going to find an alcoholic, and you're going to have hell on earth. There is no right person out there. The only person that can save you is you. And that's good news, because you can get better, you can get stronger, you can look better, you can smile more. I was working with a lady the other day, new lady, and she wouldn't smile the whole session. And she was fussy britches. I got to the end of the session. I said, we're not going to end the session until you at least smile once. She gave me a sarcastic smile, but at least she smiled. Go buy yourself a spaceship life. Don't settle for shitty love. Love yourself well. Love yourself deeply. Treat yourself. Protect yourself. Do not get bullied by anybody. When you have this kind of confidence and somebody tries to bully you, God help them. It's lovely. I've been living in fear for 5 years, afraid to get out of bed, afraid of conflict, afraid of this, afraid of that. Honestly, I'm not afraid of anything right now. I had this old client once, a lady come from a family who accomplished a lot. She says her daddy taught her, he says, we don't get headaches, we give them. If you're going to pick, folks, between living with an eternal headache because you're everybody's punching bag, or being a strong, kind, caring, loving, balanced, mature human being, but if somebody fucks with you, they're going to have a migraine. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for watching today. I hope you're feeling the energy. If you haven't signed up for our channel, please do that. Thank you for watching. Go get yourself a spaceship. God bless.